Hey there, how you doing today? I am going to show you how to defrost frozen ground beef because I want to make some sloppy joes. Have you ever done that? Have you ever thought, oh yeah, I want to make spaghetti sauce or chili or sloppy joes or taco meat, and you forgot to take it out of the freezer? Well, I'm going to show you a really easy way to defrost it. And a product I'm going to use is our TupperWave. Now this is a couple of pieces from my original TupperWave, which I've had for 25 years, actually maybe 26 years. And I'm going to show you it has a cover, and I'm going to show you the new style too. So it has a cover, and then this is a colander, okay, because it's going to drain the fat. And then we have our 1 3/4 quart base. So I have 3 frozen hamburger patties in here. And you can do the same thing with just a chunk of frozen meat too. But here's the key. You don't want to use your defrost setting on your microwave because it has a tendency to be a little bit too hot, and your meat will start to cook before it started to thaw out. So I'm going to put this in first for 4 minutes at 30% power, and that's the key. I believe your pre-setting on your microwave is about 40% power, which is a little bit too high. So I'm going to put this in. I'm going to show you how I'm going to set my microwave. Now your model may be a little bit different, but you do want to put in the time that you're going to cook it and then the power level that you're going to use. And the same thing works if you're reheating foods too. So we're going to go put this in, and we're going to hit 4 minutes. And then my power level button, and I'm going to keep hitting it until it gets to 30%, and then start. So hopefully you got all that, and you can rewatch this too. But look at this stack cooker. Is this beautiful? I love this color. As you can kind of see in the background, my kitchen kind of has that color too. So with this cooking system, you can actually do a meal for 4 in about 20 minutes because you're stacking your levels. So you have your 3/4 quart casserole, which is also a cover. You have your colander, which is for draining or steaming. And then you have your 1 3/4 quart casserole, and then your 3-quart casserole. It even comes with 2 seals to seal your 2 larger casseroles. So if you want to pre-prepare something, or if you want to store any leftovers, you've got the seals for doing that. This particular product has it's a non-stick material. It's also non-stain, so it's never going to discolor, and it cleans up so easy. It is dishwasher safe. However, because of the size of these pieces, I typically hand wash them because they're just so easy to clean. The handles are stay cool to the touch, so that's a great safety feature built right in. And then there's also another piece, which is the cone, and that fits in the 3-quart. You see that circle in the bottom? We call that a locator, and your cone will sit on top. So now you've created a bundt cake pan. You can even do a happy chicken, so you can put the whole chicken on there and be like a beer can chicken, except the cone is replacing the beer can. And then you can take your 1 3/4 quart cover and invert that like a Dutch oven, and that's if your microwave will accommodate that height. Or this is what I do. I put the colander in the 1 3/4 quart. I put my chicken in here, the breast side up, and I season it, and then I cover it, and I cook that whole chicken for 7 minutes per pound. It is tender, moist, and tasty. Carve it right off the bone. It is so delicious. But the beauty is all the fat is drained because you have the chicken in the colander to the bottom casserole. So then you've got your chicken broth and your fat. So you can let that bad fat rise to the top if you want to save that chicken broth or use it, or you can make gravy right in here if you're going to make chicken and noodles, or if you have some mashed potatoes and you want some gravy. So I just love this set. And you can use all the pieces individually, except for the colander, for obvious reasons. And so you'll see that on here, it's got little tuppy feet. They're on the bottom of every casserole. So what that does is when this is in the microwave, it's suspended in air. So the microwaves can go in the top and in the sides and up from the bottom. So you have an overall even heat distribution. So you want things to be able to cook quickly and more evenly. So that's pretty much it on the stack cooker, which I absolutely love. And my timer is going to be going off in a minute, but you can do your ground beef like I'm doing, ground turkey, ground sausage, ground chicken. You can steam your vegetables, you can cook your fish, any type of shellfish, whitefish in here. And like I said, you can do desserts, you can do so many things, and that stack cooker will replace your pots and pans that you use on top of your stove. So let's see how we're doing on time. We got like 24 seconds. So we may have to do this for a couple more minutes, but the reason why I am doing it just for the 4 minutes is to make sure that it's not going to start cooking, because I need to break that meat up. We have a great utensil. It's one of our KP tools, and it's a potato masher. But what is so unique is the size, the shape of it, because it fits right there into the wall of our round dishes. Isn't that clever? So let's go check that meat and see how it's doing. And remember, I said these are stay cool handles too. So, yep, they're still pretty frozen, but they're starting to defrost, so I'll just show you. So we're gonna do another 3 minutes at 30%. And I might even check it at 2.5, just because I don't want to get that meat to start cooking. What I'm gonna make with my ground beef is I'm gonna make sloppy joes. So I am going to chop up my onions and my peppers that are gonna be cooked in with the meat, and I'm gonna chop them in my Power Chef, which is a manual food processor. It has a little opening here because it has a funnel attachment, so that if you want to add any type of a liquid to whatever you are mixing, so if you're making a homemade salad dressing, you might need some vinegar, you might need a little bit of oil, you might need some water to add, or milk or vanilla to something, and your funnel even has measurements right on it. You see that? So you don't need to dirty a measuring spoon. And then it has the blade, which there's 3 blades for fast chopping. And it also has a whipping attachment, so if you're going to do any dips, marinades, salad dressings, eggs, whipping cream, pudding, anything like that. It even has a silicone ring on the bottom that easily comes off for easy cleaning, and that's going to help prevent it from sliding. Make sure I got that on there right. And it even has a seal for storage, so if you want to pre-prepare and seal what you've prepared until you're ready to use it, you can do that. And then this is my favorite part. It's got a lawnmower attachment. So you just pull it like a lawnmower and it revolves your blade. So one pull, this will revolve 4 times. So it's like 12 cuts because you've got the 3 blades. So that's pretty clever. Let me check this just to make sure it's not going to start cooking ahead of time. That was after 2 minutes. And let's just see. The meat is starting to defrost, as you can see here, okay? So we're gonna put it in for that other minute and see what happens. Because my whole point is, I'm wanting to get it to the point where I can break it up, just like you would in your fry pan. And that's so it's gonna cook evenly. So while we are waiting for that, let's see, we're gonna go ahead and chop up our peppers and our onions, and I just happen to have the sweet peppers on hand, but you can use green pepper or a mixture of green pepper and your onions, whatever you like, in your sloppy joes. This is just the recipe I've made for years and years and years. And then we're just going to go ahead and give it some rolls. You can chop it to the consistency that you like, and you can just go ahead and tamp that down to make sure that it gets everything blended. So look at that. And then we're going to scrape down the side a little bit with our spatula. And this is a product that you'll see very soon, the spatula, in our new spring-summer catalog. We're going to give this one more pull because there was a couple of big pieces of onion on there. on the wall that I just need to get up. There we go. So there's that. Let me pull out this and show you something else. And then let's pull this out and see how it's doing. And our meat is just about defrosted. So you can see how it's breaking up in there. So that was what, a total of 7 minutes. Like I said, you know, you may have a more powerful microwave too. I have a 1,000-watt microwave. And your large pieces of ground beef are gonna take a little bit longer to defrost. So we're just we got one little piece here that's being a little stubborn. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add my peppers and my onions to this. And so that's gonna go ahead and that's gonna cook down. It smells so good. So we got that all cleaned out. All right. Let's just mix this up just a little bit. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in for 3 minutes on high power. And then I'm gonna take it out, break it up some more, and then finish cooking it for 3 more minutes. So it's a total of 6 minutes cooking time for a pound of ground beef. So I'll be right back. So that's 3 minutes on high. Okay, so while that's cooking, let me show you another thing. Because of this mechanism here, it does have a cord that's like a shoelace, and we don't want to get it wet. So for that reason, there's a slot here, and Tupperware designed this so that you can pop it apart and take the flat end of our citrus peeler and just stick that right in there and pop that top apart. So now this can go in the sink or the dishwasher. And the top part, if I had anything that got dirty, if I had my hands all dirty, I just wipe this off and then set it aside because nothing's gonna get up in here. As you can see, it's nice and clean. So we're just gonna set that aside, and that's going to protect the integrity of our cord, which is what you wanna do. You always wanna pop that apart before you wash it. So you must have a citrus peeler. Because it says in the instructions to use like the tip of a tablespoon, like your kitchenware, or a knife. What I found was it was actually chewing up or marring up that plastic. So the citrus peeler doesn't do that, which is really nice. So I'm going to pause this for a minute, I think. Maybe not. Let me just tell you some things that you can cook in here really quick. So if you were cooking a meal for 4, you might want to have some potatoes in here. You might want to be doing meatloaf. So you could actually take your meatloaf mixture and do mini meatloaves, because they will cook faster, because smaller uniform pieces cook faster than really big pieces. Or you can sit your cone in here and you can pack your meatloaf mixture around the cone over the colander, so it's going to drain that fat into the 1 3/4 quart casserole, and then cover that. So remember, the rule of thumb for cooking in your microwave is 6 minutes per pound for beef, pork, poultry, vegetables, whether they're fresh or frozen. And if you're doing fish, fish is 3 minutes per pound. So it just depends on what you're cooking together. So if we had potatoes in here, maybe we're going to mash the potatoes, and used 2 pounds of ground beef, then it's probably going to take about 15 minutes to cook. And you may have to make those adjustments, and it's just like cooking on top of the stove or in the oven. You have your recipe that tells you your timetable, but you've always had to make adjustments in how you're cooking. And then you can go ahead, and while that's resting and you're mashing your potatoes, you can cook your vegetables, okay? Or if you did the mini meatloaf, so take the cone out, you have your mini meatloaves in here and your potatoes, And then you invert this and you can have some mixed vegetables or some corn, and you put that all in together, stacked for 20 minutes on high power. So let's check our meat and see how it's doing, because we need to break it up just like we would have done on top of the stove. Except for when it's on the stove, you pretty much have to babysit it, because if you don't, your meat's gonna start cooking and caramelize. And you can see the steam too coming off. So we just want to get this meat all chopped up, so we don't have any big chunks of meat. We want to make sure that it is all ground up. Not ground up, chopped up. And we're going to go ahead and finish that cooking process. And this is what you'd be doing in the fry pan on top of the stove, right? It's just stirring your meat around. Okay, so then we're going to cover this back up. We're going to cook this for 3 more minutes on high power. So, let's see what else we can do in here. Oh, do you like cake? Me too. So if you just want some fast desserts, you know, you might have a cake mix on hand in your kitchen. And one of my favorites to do is German chocolate cake. So I put the cone in the middle, and then I take a can of coconut pecan frosting. I spread it in the base with my silicone spatula. Then I take my batter that I've made, so my German chocolate cake batter that I've gone ahead and mixed up in my Power Chef or my Whip and Mix, whatever, pour that on top of the frosting, and then I put it in the microwave uncovered, because when you bake in the oven, you don't cover it, right? Same thing in the microwave, put it in there uncovered for, depending on the wattage, it's gonna take anywhere from 9 to 10 minutes. Could take longer if you have a lower wattage microwave, but check it after 9, because you don't wanna overcook the cake, because if the cake gets overcooked, then it's going to be a little dried out and a little chewy on the edges. You just want to make sure the cake isn't wet on the top. And again, you can test that with a uncooked piece of spaghetti because it's longer. And you just want to make sure that when you push that all the way almost down to the frosting, that it comes out clean, just like a toothpick that you test in your regular pans for your cakes. And if it's done, then let it sit, because it's still cooking. Microwaves are still, the vibration of the food molecules happens because of the microwaves, and that's what actually cooks your food. It's not the microwaves themselves. They attack the food molecules, cause them to vibrate. It's that friction that generally is going to heat or cook your food depending on what you're doing. So the cake is still cooking. And it's the same thing when you've baked it in the oven. You take it out of the oven and you let it rest as well, because it's still baking, correct? Same thing for the microwave. So let it sit for about 1/4 of the time that you cooked it for. And what I like to do is to take my spatula and run it inside the edge, even though you will see it pull away, it's pulled away from the edge of the pan. And remember, I told you this was non-stick, so we did not spray this. There's no need to spray this. It is totally non-stick. You don't need to flour it. And then just give the cone a little twist. Put your plate, or even you can take your cover, and you're gonna flip it over, and your cone will not fall over like that. It's going to be in here. Lift your cone out, and voila, your cake is already frosted and ready to eat. It is so delicious. And another one of my favorites is turtle cake, which is chocolate cake, pecans, and caramel. So with that one, you put your pecan pieces in the bottom, mix up your cake mix, and you pour that batter on top of your pecans, and then you take your caramel ice cream topping and just drizzle that right over the batter. And what happens during the baking time, the caramel goes through the batter to the pecans, and when you turn it over, it's drizzling over the cake. Oh, it is so good. So let's just see how this is doing here, because I have something else really exciting to show you. So it looks like, oh yeah, this is nice and done. So I want you to see, here I'm just going to do it like this, scoop it like that. So see our meat, and the onions and the peppers are all cooked up. So because this is a colander, okay, I'm gonna set this in the cover that's inverted. Okay, so any of the extra juices are going to drain into the cover, but I wanted you to see the fat that was in this meat. And there is a little bit of the water from your onion and your pepper, but not that much. There's a lot of fat in there. And look at this right here. That's the blood from the ground beef, and it's all coagulated. Did you know that if you've been frying your meats on top of the stove in your fry pan to do all of your spaghetti sauce, taco filling, sloppy joes, chili, that you've been eating all of that. Even though you poured fat off, the fat and the blood have come out and a lot of it is sucked back in to the meat. And so you've been eating that. So now you're having a lot healthier food, which is gonna lower your calories. It's also going to help your heart. And so you're just gonna dump this out. So let me see. I don't have anything to dump this in. I have a can, but I'm gonna have to wait to do that. Hold on. Let me see what I can put this in. Give me a second. Oh, I know what I'll put it in. I have my micro picture here, and this will be a great visual for you. So you can see all of this that came out, and look how this cleans right out. Your fry pan you aren't gonna be able to do that with your fry pan because a lot of your meat has caramelized, so it's gotten a little crusty on there. So now we have that removed. Aren't you glad we removed that? Then we're gonna take our meat with our peppers and our onions. We're just gonna put that back into the casserole. Okay, and see, and there's even a little bit of stuff on there. Oops, sorry about that. Sorry about that, my battery's going low. Then, I'm really simple, and we just use ketchup in our sloppy joes. So we're just gonna add our ketchup. I don't know what you put in yours. Maybe you use tomato paste and some spices and things, but I just use ketchup. And then we're just going to incorporate that ketchup into our meat, like so. So it's all blended. I'm gonna put a little bit more in there, just a little bit. That was probably about a cup of ketchup that I used all together. So we just want to get this nice and incorporated. Then we're going to put the cover back on. And we are going to put this back in the microwave for 5 more minutes on high power, and it's going to be ready to eat. How simple is that? It's so easy. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for some more Tupper tips. Bye.